OmniAudio.Africa.
This should be RomneyAudio.Africa.
Romy Titus and Kevin McCallum. Not the sports news.
That's how spoken.
Streaming data-free on the MTN network in South Africa. This is where Africa comes to play.
That is a masterclass.
On your phone, online, and on demand at OmniAudio.Africa.
It's mayhem.
Not the sports news.
It's a Wednesday edition. I'm with Kevin Fine as we unpack as to what is happening in the sporting world. So much to chat about. 2026, Coach Hugo Broos says he will no longer be coach. So what are we going to do? Because at the moment, he is the longest serving coach that we've had at the helm of the national team. Great news, Banyana. 3 Nation Series winners heading into an WAFCON out in Morocco from the 5th until the 26th of July. Does this bode well? And will we see the women come back as WAFCON or African champs for a second time in a row? Wherever Virat Kohli is, he slept like a baby. PCB winning their first title in 18 years. And a little later, we chat to Andre Arendse because I'm sure that he is still pinching himself. Someone is sleeping well, Kevin, and someone is pinching themselves. And that's how sport goes.
Well, I think Andre Arendse must be the happiest coach in the PSL at the moment, and he's not involved in all the drama. But we'll chat to him and see how he's feeling. Suffice to say that they survived that disaster.
I cried. I saw Andre cry. I saw him hold Stan Matthews, and then I cried for the mere fact that he was crying.
You could see the emotion on the faces of the SuperSport players, of the management, the CEO, the coaches. Grant was there too, Grant Johnson. And you have to feel for Cape Town City because the way this has unfolded has been the most, dare I do the circus music of because the farcical nature of that game, a 45-minute game with 7 substitutions in the second half, a 1-1 draw, both teams knowing that they had to draw, and then leaving Cape Town City to fight what is now becoming a legal battle. It'll be an interesting discussion to see. I don't know that Andre will be able to say too much about it, though.
Look, it's worth an ask in any case. I think he's always upfront and he always plays it safe. But if he does know, I think he does sort of share. But then again, there's Bloem Celtic that has the naming rights have been bought for $5 million. And for me, does that signal that SuperSport is heading that way? Are we going to see, that sale happen? And I don't know.
We'll have to get it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, but I want a Celtic to come back because in Bloemfontein, just the supporters that come through in support of a team that is locally based, right? But then it's like AmaZulu. AmaZulu retained the name based on the years of just legacy. And I always feel sad when the name changes come in, like a Royal AM, right? Which is also another story for another day. Changing the name, obviously, to what you want it to be. I get that. But then again, when something comes with such a rich history, 99 years of it's poof, could have waited for 100. So it's like SuperSport or Bloem Celtic or
they've set a precedent.
SuperSport.
They've set a precedent, and I don't think anybody in Bloemfontein would support a SuperSport United, to be honest. The green and white of Bloemfontein Celtic, one of the most, I guess, well-supported clubs in the country. We've missed Bloemfontein Celtic in the PSL, to be honest. And it, to my mind, it would actually be dumb to make it SuperSport United in Bloemfontein. Because
but then again, it's also a team that has won 3 back-to-back leagues. SuperSport isn't just another team. It is a team that has taken league honours and that has a rich history.
I'm not arguing that. I just think the precedent has been set. So you've got Royal AM, you've got no more Wits or whatever you want to call them. You've had all these changes, and because the PSL have allowed it once, the changing of a name of a franchise should not be a problem. We are taking questions on X, right, and on Insta, and on TikTok, and on YouTube, and on Facebook.
All over Omni Audio Africa on Facebook, Omni Audio. If it is that you're following us on Insta and TikTok, Omni Audio Africa on YouTube. And if it is that you want in on the conversation, please, Andre Arendse coming up in a short while about that. The name change, I guess, isn't the issue. But for me, it's just about there goes that history of a team that we once knew, and there's so many of those teams that we can mention in the PSL era. Moving on to Bafana Bafana, who have 2 friendlies now. Nice to see younger players also in that fold. Nkosinathi Sibisi is their captain in the absence of Ronwen Williams, who heads to a Club World Cup. But Coach Hugo says, and he made it known to everybody, post a World Cup, he is no longer going to be working every day. Said it'd be nice to sip coffee with his wife because he's been working. He's been in football since the age of 19. He's 73 now.
Look, he's definitely done something that nobody else could do for South African football. I think the current status of everybody complaining about the fact that there's no Chiefs players in the team, he's also thrown aside. And good for him. If the players aren't good enough and he doesn't feel they should be in the side, he's ultimately the selector or the main selector, and he gets to choose. But the success that he has brought to Bafana in terms of records, in terms of performance, in terms of being on the verge of a World Cup qualification, the first since 2002, and let's not get ahead of ourselves because there are a few games ahead and we still got to play Nigeria. But his departure, and we've spoken about this before, and I'm sure people have an opinion on it, is that he should be mentoring somebody to take over from him now so that there's some continuity. And we see it often in national teams. If you look at England, the change from the existing coach to Tuchel, you see it in Brazil. Carlo Ancelotti's just taken over. So new team, new technical team, new way of playing, different selection ways. But these are successful franchises.
Right.
And South Africa hasn't had any success, let's be honest, as a male team at least, since 2002. And you're going back to Korea and Japan. And even then, we didn't qualify for the knockout stages. So there's still a long way to go. I don't think we don't know how. Firstly, if we're actually going to get to America, which I think
yes,
we will.
We will. Come on,
I think
Kevin.
we will. To be positive. The second part is, well, once we get there, how will we do? And we know he's going afterwards. The big question is, who is going to take over? And is there anybody who can fill his shoes with that kind of technical capability, external knowledge, technical team, and the ability to muscle SAFA? I watched that parliamentary committee. I don't know if you watched Liam Jacobs. I don't know if you saw. Dude didn't see Liam Jacobs. They absolutely tore into Danny about their financial distress. And there were mails and messages from the Motsepe League saying how they hadn't received their money for 2 years.
Yes.
They hadn't received their fees that the peers that SAFA are supposed to pay, and yet they're supposed to be members of SAFA. Now, working in that environment as a coach cannot be easy, and answering to a leader, I don't know so much that I'd call him a leader, but the appointed leader, I guess, of Danny Jordan cannot be easy. So whoever comes in has got a very difficult role to play, not just in selecting the team and winning, but managing the quagmire that is SAFA.
Yeah.
You've spent some time inside SAFA, and you know probably a few things that you could share with us, but how difficult is it for a coach to manage that environment upwards rather than just choosing the team? What are the shenanigans that we're not seeing?
Look, there's a lot that bubbles under. I think also a coach Mdaka coming back and winning a Majita, hoisting a trophy for the first time, I think, in 28 years, with no bonus for that. And he earns under 30,000 Rand, and the T's and C's around that. And just, I guess remuneration has always been an issue as to why. I cannot answer. But there's lots of other things that do bubble under, I think, which take away and distract from football. And then again, there is magic happening, on the pitch. So...
Look, you cannot doubt
yes, but
the
such
performance
it's like this.
parameters. So
like the parallel, there isn't.
Well, look,
I'm trying to draw a picture, but here's our football, right? Something's happening.
Yes, so the
And
women's
here's
team's
the
done
admin.
well, the Amajita have done
Correct.
well, and Bafana are doing well. Now, is that in spite of
Yes.
SAFA or
It
because of
definitely is.
SAFA?
No, it's in spite of, I think. Because everybody who goes understands that, okay, so the mother body might not be as shiny as we all had hoped, but everybody goes to do what they want for the love of football, really, because this is what they really want to do. you know. So also you're in a team, and yes, there are issues. However, everybody pulls together to make it work at the end of the
So
day.
where is the rot? I mean, point out an example to me, because we look at it from the outside in, and we see this parliamentary, I guess, inquisition about how much Danny has spent traveling
I
to.
thought we were interviewing Andre Aronson today.
We are.
Oh, okay.
We are, but I mean, he having played for Bafana a long time ago and having been the goalkeeper coach, he probably would have a view. But the players are, I think, somehow protected from that more than the coaches and the administrators would be. They're not sitting in meetings with SAFA CEOs and SAFA communication heads and administrators and payments and so on. I think the coach and the manager have to sit and fight about player earnings, player bonuses, etc.
Not really, no. It's not the coach and the team manager. It's actually the players, led by the senior players. So it would be a Ronwin Williams and his deputies that actually sit with a Lydia and a CFO, for example. That is where those talks come.
But there haven't been complaints about the national team's payments, about Bafana in particular.
Not at the moment.
It's
I haven't
in
heard
the
anything.
rest of the area, SAFA development structures. I mean, my experience of SAFA is through soccer that I see in my local area. So the Gauteng Development League or GDL, whatever you want to call it. I'm seeing a lot of good young footballers coming into there, playing great soccer, getting selected for big teams, Sundowns, Pirates, Chiefs, etc. Scouts out finding those players. So that's what I see in Gauteng. I can't speak for the other provinces, but it sounds to me that there are little pockets of I don't want to call it excellence, but certainly success. And maybe they are overspending. Maybe Danny Jordan has been around for way too long. I mean, he's been in charge for 12 years, I think, now. And yes, there are a lot of problems, but it can't be all that bad if our soccer is doing so well. Am I wrong in my thinking?
No, it's the exact same way that I do think. I mean, you're not turning a blind eye to the issues that do exist because they're there. They're glaring. They make it into the media. They're true. People are not turning around and saying, no, we couldn't pay our staff this month because there is no money. So I think they're being open about the fact that there are problems. What exactly are those problems and why do they exist and how are they being remedied? I think we're not privy to. Where is the money going? I guess they're always transparent to say, look, our financials are here, you can take a look. Are sponsors coming in thick and fast? I think a little bit more now that we have a winning team.
Well, a winning team gets sponsors. Look at the
Correct.
Springboks.
Everybody wants to be a part of a winning formula. So the sponsors are slowly coming in. And so maybe this is it. Maybe this is the turning point, where we do see more money in those that are deserving.
Speaking of money, and this story came across my desk yesterday, it looks like Gayton McKenzie, our Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, has set aside 90 million rand for the implementation of VAR in the PSL. Now, whether that will come to bear or not, we'll have to wait and see. But that's the story. And if it is true, I mean, well done to Gayton McKenzie.
90 million. Wow.
That seems to be the number. And if they do get that right, hopefully it'll make a big difference. I'm sure people like
But hold on, it's 90
Andre
million.
would benefit from that.
Yes, but it's... And after that 90 million?
I don't know. That's what they've set aside, I think,
Okay.
to buy all the technology.
To buy everything, it's still got to be there. There's still costs that you incur per match.
Yeah, and then you need people to operate it, and you need
Correct, and
VAR
train
referees,
and-
etc.
yeah.
So I
Okay.
don't know what the operational costs are linked to that, but if the government has put aside that money and it does help the PSL become a more attractive product, that's really not a bad thing. I think the PSL's got bigger problems at the moment, and if Andre is joining us,
He will shortly after the break.
he will do. So Andre, I mean, let's just preface what's going on with this Bloemfontein story, right? So, who's this Edward Napo Modise?
I don't know who Edward is, Bra Eddie, as he is now known.
Bra Eddie.
Bra Eddie. But it is touted that he has bought the status and he wants to revive Bloemfontein Celtic. So 5 million, that deal has done and dusted.
But he's got the name from former owner, well, the former owner
Max
of the name,
Shabalala,
Max
yes.
Shabalala. Right? So he's got the name. Now he needs the franchise from the PSL. And that's assuming that SuperSport United are selling the club and that it is actually up for sale. Sure, complicated.
I find it so interesting. And then again, the name and the sale and I love it. I love that whole story. And then Cash in Sport comes and puts it, like sews it all together, you know?
The one article that I did see is that this is now the silly season, because we've been through a silly season with Royal AM. And now we've got Cape Town City and their legal battle with SuperSport United.
Season.
So the shenanigans, and I hate using that word, but it is the only word to use, continue with the PSL. It's never plain sailing.
I guess it's the football after the football, seeing that we're in the off season, because coaches are also doing the merry-go-rounds. A Gallant's coach apparently has been let go, but he says he's in France at the moment. No, I still have my job last time I checked. We're waiting to see if Nabi's going. There's no word. Who takes over from Riviero? We don't know. And then Cardoso yesterday, actually Monday, so was saying, if it is that Rulani didn't make the second start and it was at Champions League was the goal, does Cardoso go? Because Champions League was not achieved.
What was that the condition for Cardoso at Sundowns?
We don't know what his mandate was, but it was why Rulani was fired. One of the main reasons. I'm sure there's others. The main one being...
It was the same for Pizza Masamani at Al Ahly. They said, keep winning the Champions League, you keep your job. You don't win it, cheers. And that's exactly what happened.
Because I also think that the Champions League is far more important, in my view, than a Club World Cup for a Sundowns.
Yeah, I think the Club World Cup's a circus. It's a TV making rights, selling,
and only
commercial.
I'm still on the rules of only 2 clubs can make it from this region, and therefore these ones aren't in, and these ones are. Okay, great. Continental glory, off you go, Sundowns, taking nothing away. But going back, a Tembazwane should have played on the day. And, I mean, so said it. He even said Cardoso sold out Sundowns.
Well, let's ask Andre Arendse what he thinks. I mean, I think the whole country is wondering why Tembazwane didn't play.
Yeah, no, they are.
Andre, did if Tembazwane had played, would Sundowns have won the Champions League final?
First of all, guys, good morning. I got to tell you, my head is spinning just listening to your conversation. So I promise I'll try and keep. But Tembazwane, what a player! What a player! You know, for me, he's not someone that you can consider leaving out of any high level game, if you like, or set of games like the CAF Champions League, because he just brings you something. You've just got to look at what he's done for Bafana in recent times, and I know hindsight is a thing, and we can talk about the play and that's why they lost, but you never really. What we can say about the player, he's top class, he's quality, he'll give you so much when you need him to come and help you.
When last have you chatted to Stan?
There we go. Okay.
Wait, can we just start this all again? Firstly, Andre, congratulations. Keeping the team up in very difficult circumstances. We saw the relief on your face. We saw how much it meant to you to keep the team up and what an achievement it is for you. We saw Grant running on the field, lots of hugs, lots of tears.
Sure.
I mean, that must have been absolutely nail-biting stuff, and congrats. I mean, it could not have been easy taking over when you did when Coach Gavin left. But you pulled the rabbit out the hat.
Well, thank you, guys, and literally that means a lot because it was a tough old journey. It really was, for many reasons, many obvious ones. You know, didn't have a lot of time to do it. I needed to change lots of things in the club, around the players, before I could even start coaching the team. In the beginning of it all, we found ourselves on a trajectory, if you like. I felt, okay, here we go. We've got a chance. And then, you know, we were hit with news and all the doubt sets in, and you know, just the timing of it all was just so detrimental to our to the way we wanted to do things, and then we had to just, you know, start working on the mindset again. And so it was a really, really up and down journey. But you know, I've got to say, the whole process, I never ever once had any inch of doubt in, firstly, the quality of the players I had around me to do that. Secondly, the approach, needed to have the mentalness, the ability to just put the noise one side and focus on what and so helped me in terms of how we had to do it and how we had to achieve it. And I said through the whole process, it looks like we're going to have to do it the hard way, and we had to in the end. And so, you know, just that feeling of getting it over the line more than anything else was, I think, the one thing that really sort of hit home in the end.
Coach, just take us inside the change room, because there had to be something that you said or that you did or that made a change or gave the players the ability to do what they needed to do.
Yeah.
What do you say to a team in that position? I mean, I've never been in that position. I was just so curious, like, how do you tell your team to go out and make sure that they're literally playing for their lives? I mean, what did you say?
Yeah. So in the end, it was very simple, to be honest. And I said to them, just as we were sort of drawing to a close and the games were running out, and I could sense. In fact, I think if I had to pick out one game in that process where I could literally see the pressure mounting and just filling the headspace of everyone, was the Richards Bay game, the one we lost 2-0. Just we couldn't do a thing right. It was the pressure just started to get too heavy, and there was more noise being thrown around at us. I said to them after the game, I said to them, you know, we've had to deal with so much being thrown, and all the disturbances that we had to deal with. I said, we, to an extent where we literally, and I could see the players literally started to feel like they were starting to be isolated, and so the focus was just being totally taken away. And I said to them, you know, the thing that you're in now, it's not that you're bad players. It's the fact that you have to grind. There's no other way to do it. You have to grind. But I said, don't do this for anything, for anyone else. Don't do it for club. Don't do it for your teammates. Just go and do it for your families, because those are the ones who matter the most to you guys. Those are the ones who are there for you every day, the ones who are backing you every day. We don't see that in your private lives. We speak about fans and the club who do that at the stadiums when we're playing games. But the families are the ones who are there every day backing you, telling you that you can do it and just supporting you. And I think it helped a bit. And for me, it felt like that took the pressure off, because we needed to go into that last half of the game. We needed to be totally devoid of pressure, of anything else, and just complete focus. That 45 minutes felt like a full 90 minutes, just in terms of how it really did. Well, to me anyway. So,
what happens now? Because all that hard work said and done, as you said, the pressure was mounting. I think it still does, because we're all looking now, waiting to see what is the fate of SuperSport United.
Romy, 100% correct. It's not over. Obviously, Cape Town City have their case going, and I think it's happening today. I'm not too sure. And so we Stan did say that there will be a bit of noise there, and we're going to have to deal with it. Those things are out of our hands now. And obviously it will be dealt with and it will be handled. So yeah, what happens now? Well, what happens now is something that, we can see as we speak, and it's the honest truth. Despite all the noise that's being made, the club and the board made any official statement to either myself or yet as to what he said. So, you guys know as much as I do, for example, as we chat right now. But the season doesn't really finish. We as coaches now have to start planning for the next season. There's a season we need to build. We need to get into a scouting process as to what players we're looking for, what movies. And so until something concrete can confirm and something's confirmed in terms of the clubs going further, that's what I will do, and I've already started doing that. And we because we can't be off guard in terms of, oh, okay, well, the club's remaining, it's going to continue, and we have we're supposed to do yet. So until that's, that becomes a truth or a reality, yeah.
Your hand is up.
Coach, we've got a message here on TikTok saying that perhaps SuperSport United should have gone into the playoffs, not your rivals. And they say it's due to you having a bad attitude. I'm not quite sure where that inference comes from, but what would you say to those who say that you have a bad attitude or that Cape Town City deserved to not be in the playoffs?
I'm to put question into the correct context. And bad attitude referring to me personally or the club as a whole?
I think referring to you, and I think possibly the perception that people would have of you over this time is very tight and restrained, and focused on what you needed to do. If that came across as bad attitude, I'd be very surprised. I mean, from what I know of you, you're always a happy-go-lucky. You've always got a smile on your face, kind to fans, kind to people who come up to you and ask for autographs. So I'm not quite sure where that may have come across, but it could have been the fact that you were very focused and very, I guess, intent on doing what you needed to do rather than displaying an attitude of laissez-faire.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really, I wouldn't, I wouldn't know how to answer that because I'm generally not someone with a bad attitude. Obviously, it's for others to make that assessment or assumption for themselves.
I think it might be a bit of banter, Coach, to be honest.
No, sure.
And I think not different to the way that Kaizer Chiefs fans are coming after Hugo Bruce at the moment, calling him a traitor to South Africa for not selecting Kaizer Chiefs players.
For sure. I honestly believe that the game has taught me, over the years, has taught me that it is a game of opinions, to be honest.
Yeah.
And we mustn't get bogged down too much. I think we must embrace it. But at the same time, when I was tasked with when I took over the team and I was tasked with one very, very simple thing, and that the outcome had to be that we remained PSL status. I had to, as you rightfully say, just throw my complete focus into it. There were so many things, as I said, I had to do, change, fix, just tweak here and there to get this over the line. And I was not focused on anything else but what I had to do. And that was the I suppose the mandate from the board.
That was the job.
Very, very clear.
And you know what, Coach?
Yeah, very clear.
The truth of the matter, regardless of everything, is the scoreboard never lies. You've managed to keep the team up. You've done an exceptional job. I cannot imagine the kind of pressure that you've been under, not just from the players, not from the fans, but from the board, from the broadcasters.
Everywhere.
I think everywhere.
Yeah.
I think you really should pat yourself on the back. I mean, I don't think you need our vote of confidence.
Yeah,
But
are you grayer or are you thinner?
Romy, you don't want to know how many more grays I found, I promise you. But guys, I appreciate it and thank you for that. It was a tough old journey, and I've said this in interviews before. I've been in the game for over 30 years. I've had the honor of playing the game at the highest level and the highest stages of football, where the pressure of the world and the eyes of the world watching you just mounted so much pressure. But this was on a whole different level. And I think, and I tried to think about it, and I realized I know exactly why. Because as a player and as a coach, the one realization is the game's no longer in your own hands, and you've got to try and affect people to do it for you. You not there yourself in the thick of things, doing it for the team and helping the team. So that was the one very, very critical adjustment that I had to make, and realization that the game's no longer in my own hands.
How did you celebrate?
Well, Romy, I got to be honest with you. I've held back on it because I wanted to be very, very clear that every inch of it is now done, which it's not as we talk. And so I'm one of those people who are very big on not things and just waiting until all the bases are covered. And so I've rather sort of kept that at bay for now.
All right, so not a full-on celebration yet. Pending.
No,
pending.
not a full-on
Loading.
celebration. Loading. That's it.
Coach, we don't know how
That's
much
the word.
we don't know how much you heard of our conversation this morning, but one of the big topics, and this will be a topic for quite a while, is the pending departure of Hugo Bruce post World Cup 2026. Do you have any ambitions to be his replacement? And maybe not, but what would your recommendation be in terms of the Bafana setup, given the success that Coach Hugo has brought into the Bafana setup?
Well, I mean, just to answer the first part of that, I'm a passionate Bafana fan. I've represented my country so many times in the past. I've in the team from a goalkeeping perspective, and it's in my heart. So to say that wouldn't be an ambition of mine one day would be an absolute lie. But coach, well, I'm an old man, but a young coach in the game, and I've also got my own journey that I'm, before I potentially think of that one day. It may never happen, but it is definitely something that would appeal to me in the future. Hugo Bruce has done a phenomenal job in terms of our international fortunes around over the years. There's no doubt. For a long time, the country has been in such a hole in international football, and we've tried out of it. We've tried to qualify here and qualify there, and we've come short, and we haven't done it. And he's taken the team to a whole new level. And you can see that there is a respect level throughout Africa, throughout the world, for the way we are playing at the moment. Now, if he's true to what he's saying in terms of just going to the World Cup and then finishing after that, then I'm just a little bit worried that we haven't put contingency plans into place. So do we have someone in mind to take over? Had someone working alongside him over these past years that will carry on the way he's built the team? I'm not so sure about that yet. So, and also the fact that we are almost there to play in another big stage again. That for me is going to be critical on how we negotiate our way through it, and also that we could potentially take thereafter if we haven't put things in place. So that is the only worry for me. What young players are we coming through that we are building and including in our national teams at the moment? That for me is something that I haven't wrapped my head around yet.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. Well, good luck watching the legal battles. It'll be like what did they used to say in the old days? Trevor Quirk used to say it'll be a ding-dong affair.
That's it. That's the word. Always good to chat, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
More than welcome. Thank
Cheers,
you.
Coach.
So, in his non-celebration that is still loading for me says everything.
Yeah, I think there's quite a way to go. I think between Durban City, Cape Town City,
All the cities,
the
from
PSL,
city to city.
SAFA, there's a little bit of mess. I mean, my only hope is that it comes to an end and that we can move into a new season without the drama.
Start on time, get venues on time, and just be organized. Get organized. That's a Wednesday edition. Till tomorrow. Cheerio.
Live from OmniAudio.Africa,
It should be RomneyAudio.Africa.
Romy Titus and Kevin McCallum.